With One Piece just being released, I think it's safe to say that with the way that it finished, it very much looked as though another season was going to be getting created. With a gripping story, incredible performances from the characters, and many different directions that the next season could go in, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there along with giving my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is One Piece Season 2, Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The release date. The question that's on everybody's mind is, okay, so when are we getting the next season of the show? Well, there are a couple of complicated things that need to be ironed out first before the next season can happen, and that's without Netflix's bad past about not renewing live-action adaptations of animes. The first is that it needs to be officially confirmed and given the green light by the platform. Netflix usually takes a couple of weeks to a month after airing the first season of the show before coming to that decision. Unless they plan on keeping it ambiguous, they tend to look at a couple of different things. They look at the watch time of the show, so how many hours have been watched by the viewers. The completion rate, meaning how many people started it ultimately went on to finish it. And something that's become even more prominent with the renewal of TV shows is judging it based on how it managed to transcend its medium. A lot of the most successful shows in today's world tend to be able to tap into society and almost make some kind of societal, cultural moment. It happened with Stranger Things, it happened with Wednesday, and this very much feels like a show where that could happen. So if it's popping around on socials and people are actively talking about it, that's a good sign. With the show jumping straight to number 1 on the Netflix charts and receiving some strong reviews, I think it's safe to presume that this show will most likely be getting a season 2. So if we predict a release date with that in mind, with the strikes that are currently taking place at the moment, this will most likely mean that the writing and production of the show will be delayed until the studios and the guilds come to some kind of an agreement. So if a usual timeline is around a year between seasons, it's looking like we could be waiting well over a year for season 2 of the show to be released, which is a shame. But I suppose we can always rewatch season 1 or throw on the anime until the next season does get released. Personally, I think we might get it in early 2025. The story. The first 8 episodes of the show provided a really gripping story that managed to tap into adventure, yet also the emotional elements too, something which did take me by surprise when watching it. In terms of the story for season 2 of the show, it very much feels like it could follow suit to the anime where season 1 left off. If that is the case, it very much feels like we could see the group head towards Logtown, which is where Captain Gold Roger was born and where he was killed as well. So it's a very poignant location to the story in the sense that it's where the whole origin of the One Piece derived from. The Straw Hat Pirates will most probably spend some time there, and with like what unfolded in the anime, they'll all carry out their separate quests in order to stock up so they can move on in the best way possible. Zoro will be looking for 2 new swords to replace the 2 that were shattered by Mihawk in the duel. Sanji will be looking to get his hands on a rare fish, and Usopp will be having a duel too. With Buggy and Alvida most likely teaming up in this next season with the hopes of retrieving the bounty that was placed on Luffy's head, we'll most probably see them intercept what's going to be happening in the hometown of Captain Gold Roger. And this is where we'll also most likely be introduced to Smoker for the first time. A character that we were teased with right at the end of season 1, just before the credits started rolling, where he was burning holes in the wanted poster which had Luffy's face on it. As the season develops, I imagine we'll also see the story of where one of the 7 warlords, Sir Crocodile, will most likely enter the picture, as the ship could get swallowed by the giant whale. It's something that will be interesting to see if they do manage to execute it on the live-action show, as I do wonder how they'll manage to achieve that from a visual perspective without it looking out of place or cheap. But I imagine they'll be able to do a good job. Sir Crocodile is an extremely interesting character in One Piece, and seeing him appear on screen would be a great addition to the show. At the heart of the story, we'll most likely still be following Luffy on his quest to find the One Piece at the Grand Line, and showing that you can achieve and work towards your dreams as long as you put your mind to it. As well as that, I feel we'll see Sanji looking for the All Blue, as that's his main goal and life's purpose, and Zoro training to become the greatest swordsman to ever be. So hopefully that means we'll get to see him face off against Recall Mihawk again. That may come later on down the line in future seasons, but I'd love to see that all-out battle taking place. Nami's sense of belonging was something which was extremely prominent in the first season of the show, so I imagine that will take a main focus again in the next season, but in a slightly different way. Because instead of her feeling as though she doesn't belong, I feel in this new season we'll see her be the most confident that she's been, and actually having a sense of belonging, and a family that she's chosen to be a part of when in the crew. There are so many different directions that Season 2 of the show could go in when they do decide to release it. I imagine they'll stay true to the show source material in the manga and anime as much as possible, because I imagine if they don't, then there'll probably be disruption caused amongst fans, and it could cause the show to deteriorate in quality. Especially when the first season, which did so well, stuck true to the anime and original story as much as possible. I don't think Netflix can fail when it comes to creating the story, as long as they stick to that source material. The cast. The cast was one of the many things that made this first season of the show so good. The cast members absolutely smashed their roles and delivered the much-loved characters from the anime, and embodied them in a way that brought them to life in a slightly different way. With there being no major deaths in the first season of the show in terms of the main characters, I think it's safe to presume which characters will be returning. I think we'll see Luffy, Nami, Usopp, Zoro, Sanji, Shanks, Garp, Kobe, and Drakul Mihawk. In terms of villains to the Straw Hat Pirates, it very much feels like we could see Buggy, Alvida, we could potentially see Kuro return as we never saw what happened to him in the show. And there is also a possibility that Arlong could return too. However, with Arlong being a main focus in this first season, I think the chances of him having a strong involvement are quite slim. In terms of new characters, the mid-credit scene alluded to the fact that it looked like we were going to be getting the character Smoker appearing in the next season, and they look like they're set to be going after Luffy. When looking at what happened in the anime of One Piece, there were other characters that were introduced too, such as the Warlord Sir Crocodile, Dory, and also Brogy. As well as that, I imagine there's going to be many more characters that will be hitting the screen, as Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates look to set sail to enter the Grand Line and find the One Piece. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about Season 2 of One Piece and its status. I'm sure more information will be released as time goes on. For now, there's the anime to watch, the manga to read, and Season 1 to go through again, in order to get some more of the show that debuted to great success. Let's just hope it gets renewed. So, there you have it. One Piece Season 2, Everything We Know. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think will happen in Season 2? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.